Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you are doing well. Welcome all in this new video lecture. In this video, we will talk about control structures such as for loop, while loop, break and continue statement. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. So as you can see, I have opened Jupyter Notebook file where I have stored everything. So first is introduction. So control structure are used in programming language to control the flow of the program. In Python, there are various control structures available to control the execution of the program. In this lecture, we will learn about different types of control structure that are used in Python. First one is loops. A loop is a control structure that is used to execute a block of codes repeatedly until a certain condition is met. In Python, there are two types of loops. First is for loop and second is while loop. So talking about for loop, a for loop is used to iterate over a sequence of elements. The sequence could be list, tuple, string, dictionary or any other iterable object. In each iteration of the loop variable takes the next value from the sequence until all the values have been exhausted. So we will see in the example what that means. So the syntax of the for loop is like this. First we have to write for, then a variable name, then in, then the sequence that is the iterable object. It may be tuple, list, string, dictionary, anything. Then we have to write column, then our code block which we need to execute. So here the variable takes each value from the sequence in each iteration of the loop. The code block is executed once for each value in the sequence. The code block is executed once for each value of the sequence. For example, let's say we have a list of fruits and we want to print each fruit one by one using for loop. So this is how you can do. See the example here. I have taken a list that name is fruits and it has some names of fruit: apple, banana, cherry. I will use the for loop here to print the name of the fruits one by one. So for that I will use for fruit in fruits, then column, then print fruit. So here what this for loop is doing, it is taking each object one by one from the fruits. So first object is apple and the second is banana and third is cherry. So for the first time when for loop is being run, so it will take apple as fruit and it will print apple. And when second time for loop is running, then it will take banana as fruit and then it will print banana. And the third time when for loop is running, then it will take cherry as fruit and it will print cherry here. So this is how for loop work here. So if I run this code block, you can see all the object in this fruits variable will be print here. So first is apple, then banana, then cherry. One more example. This following code prints the element of a list. So I have taken a variable called numbers and it is a list and it contains some numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the numbers. So our for loop is printing all the numbers one by one. You can see I have written for num in numbers print num. So what this num is doing, this num is taking one object at a time whenever for loop is being run. So first time when for loop being run, then num will be 1 and it will print 1. Second time num will be 2 and it will print 2. Second and the last, and similarly when the fifth time for loop will be run, then the num will be 5 and it will print 5. So our numbers will be printed vertically here. So you can see all the numbers are printed here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how for loop works. Second type of loop is while loop. So a while loop is used to execute a block of code repeatedly until a certain condition is met. But the condition is checked at the beginning of each iteration of the loop, and if the condition is true, the code block is executed. This continues until the condition becomes false. So you can see the syntax of the while loop. So while, then here we will write condition. So whatever condition will be given here, if the condition is true, then the code block of this while loop will be executed. So we will see the example. So first example is where we have to print the numbers from 1 to 5 using while loop. So first we see, like, we have printed the numbers from 1 to 5 using for loop, but here we will print number from 1 to 5 using while loop. So first we have assigned a value 1 to variable I, and then we are using I variable to print the numbers. So value of I is 1, and we have written while, then the condition is here. So I is less than or equal 5, then column, then we have two line of code in the code blocks. First is print I, and then I is equal I plus 1. So whenever this condition is met, so these two lines of code will be executed. That means first it will print value of I, and then again it will update the value of I with while adding value 1. So first time value of I is 1, so this condition is true. So it will print value of I, that means it will print 1, and then again it will update value of I to 2. So the value of I is here 2 now, and again this condition is true, and since this condition is true, because 2 is less than or equal 5, so then again I will be printed, that means 2 will be printed, and similarly I value will be updated with 3. So this will continue till I is equal 5. So when I is equal 5, 5 is less than or equal 5, that means this time also this condition is true, and then again it will print I, and again it will update the value of I with 6. So value of I is 6 now, and when this time this condition is checked, so 6 is less than or equal 5, so this condition is false. So this code block will not be executed now. So our value will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the output. So if I run this cell, you can see the output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next is break and continue statement. So Python provides two statements, break and continue, to control the flow of the loop. First is break statement. So the break statement is used to exit a loop prematurely. Prematurely means that for loop is not completed or the while loop is not completed yet. So this is where this break statement is used. So when the break statement is encountered, the loop is immediately terminated and the program continues with the next statement after the loop. So for example, the following code prints the number from 1 to 5 but stops when it encounters the number 3. So if we do not use if num is equal to 3, then break. So what it will print? It will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. But as soon as we write num equal 3, break. So what it will do? It will check whether this num is 3 or not. If num is 3, then it will break this for loop here itself. So for first time when num is equal to 1, so you can see num is not equal to 3. So it will not execute this code block. That means break statement will not be executed. So it will print the number is equal to 1. And when second time for loop will run, then num will be 2, and again break statement will not be executed. So it will print num is equal to 2. But at the third time when num is equal to 3, so num is equal to 3, this means this statement is correct. So the break statement will be executed and this time for loop will be stopped. So this will print value 1 and 2 only, because after 3 the for loop is broken. So if I run this cell, you can see the output is 1 and 2. So the output is 1 and 2. The next is continue statement. So the continue statement is used to skip the current iteration of the loop and the continue with the next iteration. So in the similar example, if I use continue instead of break. So what it will do, it will skip the value 3 and it will go on the next object. So first is num is equal 1, second is num is equal 2. So for these two, the numbers will be printed, but for num is equal to 3, this continue statement will be executed. Continue statement only skip that current value. It does not break the for loop or the loop. So it will not break the whole loop. It will just skip that particular object. So again our value will be 4 here for the num, and this time also this continue statement will not be executed and it will be printed here. So 4 and 5 will be printed here. So the our value will be 1, 2, 4, 5. So the output value will be 1, 2, 4, 5. You can see here. The next is nested loops. So Python allows nesting of loops, which means we can have a for loop inside another for loop. This is useful when we want to iterate over multiple sequence of elements. For example, the following code prints the multiplication table of numbers from 1 to 5. So in the example you can see I have written this for loop statement here, and I have some code blocks for that for loop. So whenever value of I is in the range of 1, 6, this code block will be executed. So for the first time value of I is 1, and this first statement will be printed here, that is multiplication table of 1. So this is the first line, and then again for j in range 1, 11, that means the range of j is 11 minus 1, that is 10. So it will go from 1 to 10. So for this for loop we have this code block to be executed. So whenever value of j is between 1 to 10, this code block will be executed. So for the first time the value of j is 1 and it will iterate to 10. So the outer for loop will be iterated 5 times because the value of range is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this inner for loop will be iterated 10 times because the value of j is 1 to 10. So when I is equal 1, j equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till the 10. So this print function will be printed here. 1 into 1 is equal to 1, 1 into 2 is equal to value of 1 into 2, that is 2. So 1 into 3 is equal to 3, 1 into 4 is equal to 4, 1 into 5 is equal to 5 till the 1 into 10 is equal to 10. So when the value of I is 1, so this will be printed, and when value of I is 2, so multiplication table of 2 will be printed from the first line, and from the second and third line, especially from this print function, print statement. So 2 into 1 is equal to 2, 2 into 2 is equal to 4, 2 into 3 is equal to 6. So till the 2 into 10 is equal to 20 will be printed. And when the value of I is 3, 4, 5, similarly we will see multiplication table of 3, multiplication table of 4, multiplication table of 5. So the maximum value of I is 5, so it will print the table of numbers from 1 to 5. So if I run this cell, you will see all the values which I just told you. So multiplication table of 1, multiplication table of 2, multiplication table of 3, multiplication table of 4, similarly multiplication table of 5. So this outer loop is being used to change the value of multiplication number. So in the conclusion, control structure are an important part of any programming language, and Python provides powerful constructs for controlling the flow of a program. So loops allows us to repeat a block of code multiple times, while break and continue statements provide ways to modify the behavior of loops. So finally, nested loops enable us to perform complex iteration over multiple sequence of elements. So these concepts are essential for any Python programmer to master in order to write efficient and effective code. So you need to know all these things if you are a Python programmer. It is very much essential for you. So I hope this lecture was helpful for you. So bye bye. Take care.